I'm in page 107 now in that Wooden book. Reading a lot, learning a lot, drawing parallels. Today is January 11th, 2017. Chapter 7, Emotion is Your Enemy. Intensity makes you stronger, emotionalism makes you weaker. This is very important talk. Hopefully people can get the most out of this. The Swiss Alps have majestic peaks and scenic valleys. Peaks and valleys belong in the Alps, not in the temperament, the emotions of a leader. I prize intensity and fear emotionalism. Consistency and high performance in production is a trademark of effective and successful organizations and those who lead them. Emotionalism destroys consistency. A leader who is ruled by emotions, whose temperament is mercurial, meaning it goes up and down a lot, like a tube of mercury, produces a team whose trademark is the roller coaster, ups and downs in performance, unpredictability, and undependability in effort and concentration. One day good, the next day bad. This is a pattern I sought to avoid at all costs. I would not accept inconsistency. The pitfalls of repeated highs and lows. I wanted the individuals on our team to play the same way, game to game, that is, with the greatest intensity while executing at the highest performance level of what they were capable. Emotional ups and downs preclude this. Consequently, I never gave rah-rah speeches or contrived pep talks. There was no ranting or raving, histrionics, or theatrics before, during, or after practicing games. For every artificial emotional peak they might create, a subsequent valley, a letdown is produced. Good judgment, common sense, and reason all fly out the window when emotions kick down your door. Unfortunately, this usually happens in times of turmoil or crisis, when you and your organization can least afford it. In other words, like that one saying in that movie, don't panic. I am very leery of excess in most things, language, dress, haircuts, and much else, but I especially dislike emotional excess because it produces inconsistency. And on the bottom of 109 has a little box here. Cultivate consistency. The hallmark of successful leadership is consistently maximum performance. Emotionalism opens a leader to inconsistency. Seek intensity coupled with emotional discipline. Display those behaviors and then demand them from those who you lead. A leader with volatile temperament is vulnerable, and so is a team he or she leads. I think about that. What's that one movie, Gladiator? When the son of the emperor murders him, and the son is this emotional wreck, always gets angry and upset and elated about certain things. And Marcus Aurelius is really level-minded. He's very keel. You can't really, get to him. He just does his job. Doesn't really smile or laugh a lot in the movie. He just does what needs to get done. That's why, I guess, one of the reasons why he was picked as the going to be the next emperor. He realized his son let his emotions get the best of him in many cases. But that being said, the parallels here, I have some bullet points. It has to do with ridicule online. When I first started working on this theory, I used to let people get to me, get under my skin with ridicule by calling me names or whatnot, how much of a idiot I was, or a crank, or a crackpot. And I realized that, they're just children in their minds and they can't handle things like this. So let them, yammer on and don't really pay attention to them because they're a waste of time. It doesn't really amount to anything if you respond to them anyways. It's just going to make you look like a fool. So avoid that at all costs. If you have people calling you names or trying to get underneath your skin, just, do your best to ignore it. Just keep on doing what you're doing and don't listen to them. Maybe they do have a few points, but for the most part, it's just them being emotionally unstable. And you don't need those kind of people in your life. And that's one of the major reasons why I sort of moved away from the Bill Gates crowd. Because a lot of the times, I know you may not see it now. If you go to Bill Gates' YouTube page, you'll see the comments have been disabled. But he used to ridicule and go along with those trolls and just getting these big arguments using expletives and all this other stuff. I just found it to be counterproductive to actually working on a theory. Why bother wasting time calling people names and all this other stuff, saying, oh, it's a part of the game? No, it's not a part of the game. It just shows you're feeding into that kind of stuff. It takes away from your ability to focus on your theory development. It's not the kind of behavior I seek in a leader. If you see that stuff, just don't let them comment. Just shadow ban them. Get rid of them. It's a waste of time. And being angry about that stuff, you can be angry about it, sure. You know, it might affect you in a little way. Of course, it hurts a little bit. But don't take that negative energy and then use it to fire back at them. Do like this one saying. It says, if people throw bricks at you, make a house. Make a house out of those bricks that they're throwing at you. Don't throw them back at them. They're giving you the tools you need to succeed, whether you realize it or not. They're getting you fired up, angry inside, and just use that to focus yourself. Sublimate all that negative bullshit and use it to make yourself even stronger as a person and as a researcher and essentially as a scientist. That will help considerably with being consistent. As well, the YouTube page I'm working on now has the most views per day that it's ever been, ever. Between 100 and 110 views a day, which is really great. But I don't look at it as being a happy type thing or a sad type thing. I just look at it as slow, steady growth. And that's the best way to look at it. And that being said, for the most part, if you let your emotions get to you, you might miss something important. And that's what I see academics doing a lot, is if something they find disagreeable is on there, they get angry about it, and then they close themselves off in their minds. Instead of doing that, if you see something you disagree with, don't get angry at it. Realize that, hey, there might be a different way of looking at the world. You might learn something from it. So essentially, emotionalism prevents you from looking outside of yourself. And that's one of the major problems with academics as well, is that if they're upset about something, oh, it must be wrong. But that's not correct at all. If you can learn, or basically it's like an educated mind isn't something that just rejects everything that doesn't fit inside their box. An educated mind can take ideas and work through them to see if they're valid or not. It doesn't just reject everything they don't agree with. That's not an educated mind. Alright, take it easy, y'all.